What's up everybody, this is Danny, and today you're seeing a highly anticipated camera comparison test you wanted to see, and that is the brand new iPhone 11 Pro Max versus the Samsung Galaxy Note 10 Plus. So they both shoot in 4K, but you're seeing the Samsung Galaxy Note 10 Plus with portrait mode video. You can see that background blur looks pretty good to me in my opinion. So I'm going to start walking around, and what I'm going to do is switch the audio to see which audio source is better. Tell me which microphone picks up better. Let me know what the dynamic range looks like. I know this might not be a fair test comparison, so let me switch out of portrait mode video. That is better. You can see that there's a crop now on the Note 10 Plus, but now there is an ultra wide on the iPhone 11 as well, so that's going to be really cool to test out. And there is also a night mode on the iPhone 11 and iPhone 11 Pro series, so I can't wait to check that out. So let's go ahead and test these cameras in all lighting conditions, and let's see which camera system is the best. Let's do this. Before we get started, I want to talk about the settings. Both were left in pure auto mode. Scene Optimizer is left on the Note 10 Plus since it comes on by default. Remember, the Note 10 Plus does have a Pro mode, so if you want to fine tune your photos before snapping, you can do that. And the iPhone still does not offer a Pro mode in the stock camera application, but I wanted to make this test as fair as possible, so I kept them both on auto. In good lighting, they are both fantastic, full of dynamic range, really nice colors, and lots of detail. You can't go wrong with either, but let me break down the differences that I saw after reviewing over 350 images side by side. They are both very similar, but you will notice that the Note does favor the heavier saturation and contrast. That's not in every shot though, so it does go back and forth. But the biggest difference that I noticed across all the photos is the white balance. In a lot of the shots, the iPhone favors the warmer tones, so that is a preference thing in the end, but it does go back and forth, so I can't say it happens all the time, but that's the biggest difference that I noticed after looking at so many images. Generally, the Note 10 Plus takes the brighter image and it tends to overexpose by half a stop or so. In harsher lighting conditions, the iPhone tends to have a more balanced approach when it comes to highlight preservation, and in some instances just shows higher dynamic range. But once again, it keeps flip-flopping, so it's hard to make a generalized statement like that. Here, the Note 10 Plus is brighter and has better dynamic range and is a better overall balance shot. And here is the Note 10 Plus preserving blowout and balancing the overall scene better than the iPhone, so you can see why this was hard. The 2x telephoto lens on both are great in good lighting. If I had to call it though, I think the Note 10 Plus has the sharper telephoto lens. I'm sure that you can just add some sharpness on the iPhone shot to make them look similar, but this is an auto test, so out of the camera, the Note looks sharper. This is the first year that the new iPhones get an ultra-wide camera. It's about time. The images look great. I like how the shadows aren't crushed on the iPhone in this series of pictures. Better overall exposure here, but once again, it goes back and forth, so I can't say it does this all the time. The Note is brighter and better exposed here. When it comes to detail on the ultra-wide shots, the Note 10 Plus is a little sharper. When you punch in, you'll see that the iPhone's is a little bit softer. When it comes to portrait mode, things are nice and fair because they both can shoot portrait with the telephoto and ultra wide lens, which is really nice. I like having that choice. I do like the colors better on the iPhone. Skin tone is generally more balanced, where the Note 10 Plus tends to overexpose the skin. But once again, this is a preference thing for sure, but I prefer the iPhone here. I think I would give the edge detection a win to the Note though. Look here between the arms of the iPhone, it missed that totally where the Note nailed it. So in most pictures, I like the edges better on the Note. I'm not a huge selfie taker, but both are very good. They both can shoot a wider angle selfie, but the iPhone's is a little bit wider. Both are detailed, but the iPhone has more detail. The smoothing, especially on the portrait mode shots, are more noticeable on the Note 10 Plus's front-facing camera, but once again, that'll be preference. They both do a great job with edge detection and background blur. When it comes to video, it's a little bit more clear-cut. They both shoot 4K up to 60 frames per second. The Note 10 Plus has some of the best video quality when it comes to Android devices, but the iPhone edges it here with better dynamic range and better balance. They both have optical image stabilization in 4K, both do a nice job of stabilizing this handheld walking footage, but if you look at the sky, the Note 10 Plus is completely blown out. Also, when you change the setting to 4K 60 frames per second, you lose stabilization on the Note 10 Plus, where the iPhone 11 Pro has stabilization, so shooting video with the ultra wide angle is going to be smoother on the iPhone. But if you're willing to go down to 1080p, there's a mode on the Note 10 Plus called Super Steady. It has legendary stabilization. This is me chasing my son after asking him to run as fast as he can. I am jumping over bushes and all kinds of stuff. And while the iPhone does all right, it's not even close when it comes to the Super Steady mode. It's really awesome. The Note 10 Plus does have the ability to shoot portrait mode video. In certain conditions, it can look great just like this. They both have 240 frames per second slow motion in 1080p, standard on most flagship phones. If you look close enough though, the iPhone slow motion looks smoother and also sharper. But on the Note 10 Plus, you do have a super slow motion option at 960 frames per second. It's not great looking, but you can capture some epic moments like this if you time it right. They both have an audio zoom feature where if you zoom in on the video, the audio is amplified. Take a listen. Now onto the low light, which everybody's been waiting for. They both have night modes, and this is the first time on the iPhone that we have a night mode, and man, does it make a huge difference. I took photos without the night mode, then with the night mode. It's unreal the amount of detail that these cameras can capture. I did take some pictures in regular lower light conditions as I normally do, but I will save those till the end because I wanted to push these cameras to their limits, so I went to Pandora at Animal Kingdom. And if you've never been there at night, it's super dark with lots of textures and colors, so this is a perfect test. To give you an idea of how dark it is, I took a video with both phones. This is not an exaggeration. All you see is a few spotlights. These are taken with the night mode in the exact same spot. It's really hard to believe. It's just incredible. The iPhone generally comes through with a warmer image and more saturation. The night mode I feel is one of the most balanced on the iPhone. It's more natural looking out of the two in most cases. Let me know which one that you think looks better because just like this entire video, it does go back and forth. But here are two places where I think that the iPhone pulls ahead. If you look at the night mode shots, you will see that the iPhone images are sharper with more detail. And the best part is the noise reduction. If you look at the Samsung images, it still retains that noise where the iPhone image is very clean. The notes processing on some instances likes to brighten too much where the image just looks whitewashed. This has happened to me more than a few times during this test, especially with harsh lighting coming from one side. So when it comes to the night mode, I'm going to give the edge to the iPhone 11 Pro for the main sensor, but if you want to shoot night mode with the ultra wide on the iPhone, you're out of luck. You'll just get darkness, where on the Note 10 Plus, you can use the wide angle for the night mode, which is a major win. Here are some more pictures of just regular low light without the night mode because let's be real, you won't be using night mode on every shot. The biggest differences that I see here are colors and exposure. They definitely handle red different. It does go back and forth, but when it comes to the red rendition, the iPhone is more accurate. After looking at many photos back to back, the iPhone is more consistent with colors and with overall balance. Like this sign, I took this photo many times and I kept getting the same result. Not sure why the Note's image was so off. I do have to note that there are times where the Note 10 Plus shows higher dynamic range. Just look at that light, so it's definitely not all bad for the Note, but the way that these cameras process, they are totally opposite when it comes to colors. The 2x telephoto in low light is sharper on the Note 10 Plus, so if you're punching in at night or taking a lot of 2x shots, you might enjoy the Note 10 Plus more. When it comes to low light video though, this is a clear win for the iPhone. This is a difficult lighting situation, same park, Pandora at Animal Kingdom, but you can clearly see more detail on the iPhone side with way better noise reduction. The Note's video is almost unusable, it's so noisy, so clear win here for the iPhone. Here's video from a more mixed lower light condition. They both look similar, but the noise reduction and clarity is better on the iPhone even in this situation. When switching between the lenses, the iPhone also has better consistency with colors and exposure, and also keeps focus on the subject, where in lower light conditions like this, the Note sometimes loses focus. So in the end, both of these cameras are awesome, and it's tough to call an actual winner because I think a lot of times the daytime photos will come down to preference. They are both technically great, but if I had to call a winner this year, I would give this slight edge to the iPhone 11 Pro Max, and here's why. The daytime, they both have their strengths and weaknesses, so we can call that a tie, or you can even give it a slight edge to the Note. But I think we can clearly say that the video is better on the iPhone with extended dynamic range in 4K 60 frames per second and stabilization in the ultra wide camera. Low light is great on both, but I give a slight edge to the iPhone's night mode, and the nighttime video is definitely better. The differences really besides video isn't that drastic, so make your decision based on video. If you shoot a lot of video on your phone, then you might want to consider the iPhone instead, but if you shoot mostly stills, then I think you'll be happy with either. Well, that about does it for me. Let me know which one that you thought was better. I hope this helped you make a buying decision when it comes to camera performance. Subscribe for a lot more camera comparisons like this coming up, and let me know which phone that you want to see next on the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.